I'm going to take some very famous quotes and try to tell you the connection to the market. So I start with Rudyard Kipling's poem that if you can keep your head when all about yourself, others are losing theirs, right? Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. Can't be a better phrase to start something about talking about volatility in the market. When markets are volatile, when there are industries which are falling, when people are telling you the world is coming to an end, and this happens very regularly, especially in markets and on Twitter, on social media, that is the time when you have to say people are resilient, people will come back to it, right? People will panic, people will go, but people will come back. So if you had just put say 10,000 rupees or say 100 rupees in 1979 in the Bombay Stock Exchange index, and you had just gone to sleep and you woke up now, you'll wake up a very happy man, because that 100 rupees would be worth about 90,000 rupees. Don't just look at the Sensex, look at what would have been the TRI, the total return index, including the dividends. Of course, I'm making a convenient the convenient thought that the market index existed in 1979. Actually, it was created only in 1984, and Deepak Mohini came out with the word called Sensex. I don't think they named it anything, but it was called Sensex by Deepak Mohini, and in 1984 it was formed with effect from 1979. So 1979 to 84 is a manipulated index with plenty of hindsight. So, but again, just making an assumption that if you had put say 1,000 rupees, it would be worth 9 lakhs, and it's not bad at all, right? 900 times is what your money would have grown. However, nobody would have done that. That is the problem. So when you look at a fund and you say, wow, this fund has given 24% return over last say 15 years or 18 years. That's a fantastic, sensational return. The question is how many investors got that? Investors did not get it because investors panicked. Investors removed the money, they stopped their SIP, and they would have very solid reasons. Behan ki shaadi hai, I had to do this, my mother was not well, 1001 reasons, but people would have interrupted the compounding or whatever, not created. So the most important thing is, if you can stay calm and cool during those times, the world is yours, or as Rudyard Kipling says, the earth is yours and everything in the earth is yours. Okay, that is the first one. The second one is the 4 most dangerous words in investments. Okay, there are 2 of them. One is our back study shows that, right? Our study shows that. This is another amazing piece of shit where people do back testing and say that this is what would have happened if this had happened. Now the problem is the algorithms which you create is you are assuming that that person does not know what has happened in the market. So say 3 years back, 4 years back, when people created algos, they said whatever we do in this algo, we should keep the PSU out, because the PSU underperformance is what has brought the index to where it is, so we should keep the PSU out. And lo and behold, last 3-4 years PSUs have done very well. I mean, a BHEL from 22 had to only go up, right? A State Bank of India from 150 had to only go up. It couldn't have gone below 150. Like Tata Power couldn't have gone below 30, right? It came down to 30. From there it had to only go up. So similarly, a lot of your BHEL, NTPC, many of things, Coal India, they were all hammered down so badly. That was a time when you just went and put money in a PSU fund, you would have made more money. So, right, so back testing always comes with a huge bias. So don't believe back testing. Just pick up those back testing assumptions and you will be able to see the recency bias in the back testing assumptions. So that is wrong. And of course the other more important one is this time it is different. Now many people would have told you this time it is different, but the way Sir John Templeton could take it and say this is the most dangerous word is so beautiful, because it is time you realize when somebody tells you no, this time what has happened is these companies like Facebook and all can never see a downside. They don't need any assets and their business will keep growing. Give me a break. Something will go wrong. I remember when the US markets were giving 24% return, which was still say 4-5 months back, when I saw my portfolio it showed 24%. That's why I'm picking up that number. I was told there is no risk in the US, investing in the US market, because he said this time is different. US market. Can you give me anything which you can do without the help of Google and Facebook and blah blah blah, all that logic? But US markets are down, right? So if I look at my portfolio, I've got a 12 or 13% return on my US portfolio. I'm not cribbing. I'm just not cribbing. I'm saying things can go wrong. So this time it is different is something which you should be wary of. And I'm not telling you, Sir John Templeton said that. So every correction will bring it like this is the end of the world. And every time there is euphoria, says this time it cannot go down. Both are wrong, completely wrong, right? Now let's go to Benjamin Graham's famous statement. The investor's chief problem and his worst enemy is likely to be himself. How your investments behave is much less important than how you behave. There's another, I don't remember the person who did this quote, said most problems in life for a man is because he cannot sit simply doing nothing in a room. That's so true, because even as a kid you were told, don't just sit there doing nothing, right? Rest is extremely underplayed. We don't realize the importance of rest and sleep. It's very important in your overall health. You need to get 6 to 8 hours of sleep, whatever suits you. Some people it's 6, some people it's 8. You have to get that sleep, you have to get the rest, you have to do all that. So you have to sit tight over long periods of time when the market does nothing. I have seen good funds, I'm not naming anybody, underperforming for 2, 3, 4 quarters. It has never bothered me. I picked up the statement, seen the fund manager's name and put it back saying, if it is a mistake, he will correct. If it's a mistake, she will correct, right? I am not ever bothered. I have seen the process. With one fund manager, I have a huge confirmation bias. Whatever she buys or whatever he buys, I already have it in my portfolio. So I cannot invest in his or her fund. I'm just making it gender neutral. That's all. Right? So don't get into thinking that you will be able to time the market or things like that. You may not be able to, but you can sit tight. That is something which is within your control. I'm not saying it is easy, but I'm saying it can be learned. It is not impossible. I think it is Dale Stein who said you cannot teach pace, right? You cannot teach pace, but you can teach a fast bowler concentration, aim, creating mental strength, how every ball should fall at the same place. Those things can be taught. Speed can't be taught, right? So speed is something somebody bowls at 150, he bowls at 150, that's it, right? Then one more thing to talk about in this context is also of course it was Benjamin Graham, the father of securities analysis, who made that statement. Similarly, Peter Lynch also has got another statement which is very nice, which he says, the 13 years that I ran Magellan, the market went down 9 times. It went down by 10% or more, and I had a perfect record. I went down every time that the market went down, right? So here is a person who ran a very successful fund for 13 years, had a long portfolio, not just a strong portfolio, it was also a long portfolio. He had a fantastic return of almost CAGR close to 30. I'm not sure whether it crossed 30, I'm talking from memory. And these things happened, corrections happened, and he had the luck of sitting through. So his return would be fantastic. The question is, how much did his investors get? Investors would have got the same return if they entered with the fund manager and stayed on with the fund manager till the end. The question is, that is within your capability, within your hands, within your investor's advice. If your advisor does not know that, bad luck, but you should know that. Pick a good fund manager, just lage raho, don't bother too much about shifting from mid cap, large cap, booking some profits. The markets are now high, let me book some profits, keep it in cash, I will move in later. None of this, just sit tight, right? So again, now let us go to Melody Hobson, or should I do I always keep saying this, that fear will always happen, right? You will always be scared. March 2020, how many of us can say we were not scared? The question is, Fear is natural, fear is normal, fear is obviously going to be there. Whether to panic or no is optional. That is the only option you have. You can't say I won't be scared. All of us were scared, definitely, but somehow you realize that okay, these things will happen once in a while. There will be a 30% fall every 2 years, or every year there will be some 1 or 2 falls of 10%, but every 2-3 years there will be 130% fall. It is during that 30% fall that you have to sit tight, or maybe you switch within companies. You say okay, airlines will be in trouble but something else will do well, right? You could have bought, typically you could have bought Zoom and you could have sold Indigo airline, right? You could have done that would have been a very smart move, but to know this it requires hindsight. So could you have done it? Extremely doubtful. I had accidentally sold Indigo sometime in February 2020. So in March 2020, I had some money and I could buy it back at 900 or 880 or 900. I could buy it. Maybe it went even lower than that. I don't remember, but I got it at about 900, and I have no regrets. It's doubled since then, right? So successful investors have to sit tight over long periods of time, right? So it's not that you're fearless, but you don't let your fear drive your decisions, right? Then Warren Buffett's famous statement, face up to two unpleasant facts: the future is never clear and you pay a very high price in the stock market for cheery consensus, right? Uncertainty is the friend of the buyer of long-term values. So when you know that you are going to be in it for a long period of time, and it's a good company with a good market share and company is doing well, good employees, there is no reason why you should not stick around with such a company even during its bad times, because during its bad times, if you buy more you will benefit, but even sitting tight is very important. In fact, I would think most of the money in the share market is not made just by buying smart, it is by sitting tight during bad times in good companies. So I like the Motilal Oswal tagline which says buy right and sit smart. I mean buy right, sit tight, right? So you have to buy very smartly and sit tight over long periods of time. But that buying smart is important, because on a bad portfolio, sitting for even centuries is not going to help you. So buy right, sit tight. That combination will work. Thank you.